Good evening, everybody, and welcome to episode 226. Can you believe that? The Andy Takes That Chance podcast. And making a welcome return to the pod, like Jacko when he came back with 8 players in 2003, was it? It is with the one and only Mr. Neil Wayne. Neil, welcome back.
Thanks, mate. Yeah, it feels a bit weird, to be honest. I did the pre-season thing, and then it's my first call up in it, my first cap at season. So yeah, excited and doing it live as well. So why not?
You're nervous, aren't you, mate? Like a debutant, mate. A bit like Freddie Ladapo coming in, mate. A bit nervy, but hopefully have a bigger impact, mate.
I'll tell you what, as bad as he's been, it's going to be a terrible podcast, isn't it?
Full of positivity, I'm sure, on that as well. And joining Neil, the bad boy on the touchline, the Jose Mourinho of local football, the man with the biggest suspensions, than the great man himself. It's Mr. Ian Killer Kilroy.
Honestly, look at Neil turning back up. We beat Man United, and here he is. Can't help himself, can you, Neil? Big leagues again.
Just a glory seeker, Killer. Just a glory seeker.
Guys, we are sponsored by absolutely no one. So, yeah, this is how it's bad now. Since we've dropped down the divisions, we have no sponsors. So, if you want to sponsor us, climb aboard. I'm sure it'll... 50 pence, you'll get your money's worth on that as well. So, yeah, I don't know where we start, guys, to be honest with you. I want to start at Crawley because I was there. 6 hours it took to get home. Unbelievable coming back. It's just like, I don't know what it's like sat nav. So I got in the car like 5 o'clock, said 4 hours, 37 minutes home. I thought I can cope with that. And then next thing I've drove for 20 minutes, it's saying 5 hours 50. I'm like, what have I gone like wrong way here? But no, and M25 was short, and then I had an M4 and M40, but I'll put my violin away just to say Crawley to Huddersfield Town 2, not the result that we wanted. And I was frustrated, to be honest with you. It feels like a long time ago, that game now. Obviously, probably 5 days ago, but I just thought you saw everything about the frustration that we've had all season, really, as well. And stood next to a few people, and I said, look here, when the game started, I says, Crawley are offering absolutely nothing here. They're there for the taking. They look so poor. But I guarantee you guys, they'll find a way to take the lead here, even though there's no evidence at all in front of your eyes. I don't drink now. That's going to happen. And lo and behold, Brody Spencer dives in, Neil. And, yeah, unbelievable. Hepburn Murphy took it really well, to be fair, mate. And we're 1 down, and you're thinking, what is going on, man?
I think it's one of them. I think we were all a little bit... nervous before it, to be honest, after the Tamworth debacle. The least said about that, the better. And obviously a real horrible run of games here when you look at Tamworth, Crawley, and then an under-21 team. So some real banana skins there. Obviously we went arse over on the first banana skin, and then it looked like we were going to go straight over on the second one as well. Lad took it well. I thought over the course of the game, Town made a lot of chances. Should have probably won the game, but our old enemy of being poor at defending cost us again, didn't it?
Yeah, really poor and unbelievable at half-time. I'll have to tell this tale and that as well, but unbelievable. I spoke to a guy, right? This is an incredible story. Michael Gregg, a few people might know him. So he's recovered from cancer, but listen to this story. So I went to Old Trafford to the cricket and he fell and broke 2 ribs, went to hospital, said to the nurses, how are my ribs? Because he's in pain. And he's saying, the ribs are the least of your worries. Found a tumour. Can you believe? So, because Michael fell and broke his ribs, probably saved his life. So, it was quite emotional talking to him at half-time and that as well, because I'm kind of thinking, God, Huddersfield Town just 1-0 down at Crawley after what he's been through. But he was just saying, we were bantering him. I was saying, God, you've had enough pain, mate, in the last few months. But then you're watching this and... everyone's in a state of flux. I thought the support were unbelievable on Saturday. There were so many people I knew that were there that I think it was just because ticking off the ground, but there must have been a good 700-800 Town fans there. And honestly, you don't realise, like, on a good day, when they get behind them, if you think last year at Swansea, we were ticking like about 120 people, places, and some of these other trips, remember Coventry that Monday night, they were like 300, but we're ticking like 800 or 900 down to Crawley. They deserve so much better. And yeah, second half, big changes. Obviously, we'll talk about Radulovic later on. It's a big hot topic, but he's hooked, Killer. Reece Healy comes on, and all of a sudden, Beautiful little bit of work from the corner. Clever goal, mate. Wiles, Healy, bang. It's 1-1.
Yeah, well, Matt and I spoke about it on the drive-in show regarding Crawley, and that from corners they were pretty awful. I think they conceded up before that game 11 out of 25 goals were from corners, and obviously our corners against Tamworth couldn't have been any worse, could they? They were straight down Sting's throat, time after time after time. So it was nice to see us at least do something a little bit different, although I'm not entirely sure it's as designed as people have made out afterwards. But it was just that first half. We looked okay. We look fine, but as ever, these stupid errors that really we just concede goals from one error. If we make one error, the other team score. We're so fragile, yet other teams make errors and we don't always capitalise on them. We kind of let them off. And that was the most frustrating thing. So, because at half time, though, how did it feel in the stadium? Because obviously, I watched it back later on. Did it feel like, because it's all right taking 800. I can't believe we can do that after the Tamworth game where obviously we were embarrassed on live TV. I didn't think so many would go. If they did, the atmosphere wouldn't be generally great. I heard the beer wasn't working or something.
Yeah, I don't know if obviously people travel a long way and had a good drink, because obviously there were a lot of people that had a nice little drink and that as well. But they were quite lively as well. But it was almost like that an air of inevitability that were not very good, obviously, after the Tamworth game. So the expectations were low, for me, it was a game really where we needed to win. But again, I think a lot of people were surprised. Bradshaw got the start and obviously hooked at half time as well. I don't like picking on individuals and stuff, Killer, but we might as well come to him now.
Well, to be fair though, because it was Marshall that got hooked at half time and Raduljic was just after. He stayed on until 60 minutes on this one. It was Marshall that got the sub, I think, wasn't it, at half time?
Yeah,
I think that's what. Yeah, it was that way. Which I don't understand how Raduljic gets chance after chance after chance. And obviously we've got to finish off this game before going on to the under-21s against Man United this week. But Raduljic seems to be getting so many chances, and his form doesn't really show that it's warranted to me. Anyway, it looks like he's getting worse. He looks like he's actually he's challenging for the balls pretty well. He's challenging well for the balls aerially. He's dropping deep into that kind of attacking midfielder role. He's coming short to try and get the ball and get a little bit more active. But as an out-and-out number 9, the guy that we were supposed to have signed to score our goals, he looks less like scoring by the game. It was just another toothless performance up top where we kind of controlled the game, even, falling 1-0 behind. It still felt the flow of the game were in our favour, didn't it? It still felt like we were fine, but we just never looked like creating enough quality chances to score. And it just came back to bite us. But it was nice to get back into it. Healy's good. I saw a stat before it that he's only been fit to start 6 games since joining us permanently, which is ridiculous, isn't it? A year down the line. But you can see there that if we have half a chance, if it's not the sniffle of Dapo you want, it's Reece Healy, because he doesn't miss many opportunities if he gets them. And to be fair, he carried on that on Tuesday night as well. But it was just a nice, well-worked goal, another assist for Wiles, and it was nice to get back in the game. But then Town obviously go and do what Town do. They get back into it for one of the first times this season. We're awful falling behind. We get back into it, and then what do we go and do again?
I like Longvic, Killer, but, and he's shown a lot of promise. He's still a young guy. Well, he's saying a young guy. Is he 25, learning his trade, but just totally switched off, didn't he, for that goal? And I don't think Michael Miller covered himself in glory either. And, the guy just stabs it in, and you just can't believe it. I mean, well, you should be able to believe it. It is Huddersfield Town, but you're just thinking, here we go, 1-1, we're back in it, second half, playing towards the away end, and the Crawley are back in front of that as well. And to me, I don't know how you can coach this, or people just switch off, and it's been happening so much, and it happened again.
It's a common theme across majority of games this season. I mean, that spell where we lost 7, 8, 9 on bounce, it was just mistake after mistake after mistake after mistake, and so much stuff that we do and have done for the last few years is just, it's all well, not all, but majority of it is self-inflicted carelessness, sloppiness, just really poor standards, and that's got to be set from somewhere, hasn't it? It's what are they doing during the week to take all that onto the pitch every week? Are they just riddled with nerves? They probably are a little bit. But going back to Raduljic, Christ, he scored that goal at Stoke.
Yeah.
And you're looking at that and you're thinking, not a bad goal, that. Took that well. Right, nice turn, stuck it in. And like you said, Killer, every time you see him now, And I don't know how he does it, but he manages to look worse every game. He is. I mean, I put it on Twitter, X, whatever you want to call it. He's like an empty shirt, isn't he? It's utterly pointless selecting him. He offers nothing. He ain't got any strength to hold the ball up and bring people in. He can drop off as much as he likes, but he's hopeless. And he just doesn't give you that. Going back to, like Saboothie and what have you, people who were good in air, you put a crossing box. Like other night, to be fair, Wiles puts a great ball in, Healy makes sure he gets there, bang, in. You can't imagine Radulovic with that chance putting it in net, can you? You can't imagine him making that run to make that little half a yard to get that chance in the first place. He just looks, I don't know, devoid of any quality at this level. And we bought him to keep us in Championship, and he's not good enough at league below. So, yeah, awful.
It's just like you say, because it's those mistakes. It's a stupid mistake, and I feel sorry for Michael Duff because I don't understand how he can get past it. The first goal, Spencer's dived in there, and he's effectively last man out wide, and he's dived in, and he shouldn't do it, but because he's inexperienced-ish. But you expect him to at least take the man down. You don't miss that. You take him down if you ain't getting the ball. You make sure he can't get past you. But secondly, Lee isn't covering him, so you've got a one-on-one there outside with a wing-back or a wide centre-back, depending on what kind of part of the game it is and where he's playing. One of your central defenders needs to be able to read that and shift over and just cover it. No one adjusts, and he's straight through on goal, and it's a great finish. I think Chapman could have done a little bit more, maybe a little bit. But that's the first goal. And then the second one, like you say, Lonvik, this is why he's with us, though, isn't it? Nigel is with us because he has the physicality is spot on. His ball playing is spot on. Beautiful. But when it comes to concentration, he switches off. You can see him if he plays a nice pass after that. Sometimes he has a little bit of one of those moments where you kind of say, "Oh, that was a good pass, that wasn't it?" Instead of switching on to the next part of the game and continue, and he kind of just has these little brain farts where he doesn't seem to be as focused as I think a professional footballer should be. And that again, he's playing everyone on side. He's so far behind play. You can't give professional teams opportunities like that to score goals, and you just can't do it. And if you switch off, and it's just like they're so bad, these mistakes, the guaranteed goals for the other team. It's not a tiny little position. Like, for example, Spencer's also playing him on side a little bit on the right hand side when Lonvik's playing everybody on by 4 yard. But that's because Spencer's read the trouble. He's seen where Lonvik is. He's trying to adjust, and he's thinking, well, why is Nige there? I'm gonna have to try and cover him. Because I saw people trying to blame Spencer on that one as well, but it's nothing to do with him. It's all Lonvik. And I honestly, since that moment, I've watched the highlights and the replay of that so many times. I have no idea what he's doing. I cannot explain at all what he's doing. Spencer, first time around, when he's dived in, he's trying to win the ball. He missed it. It's a mistake, absolutely. But you understand it. But we can't be giving goals away like that. And if we are giving goals away like that, games like Crawley, where we put a performance in where, in my opinion, we did enough to win. We did more than enough to win. But you failed to win because you've switched off at at the worst possible moment. And that, if you ask me, what Town are this season, that's what's defining us this season. It's not how actually we're playing overall. I think we're not that bad. But these certain specific errors we're making week after week, game after game, both these two games it happened with Miller against under 21s. And on Saturday, Lonvik and Spencer / Lees for me. It's I don't know what Duff can do to fix it. This is where I think he's talking about mental attributes, isn't he? And that we're fragile and it's all this kind of stuff. But honestly, I don't know how we can fix it because the same problems happen over and over again, even if the rest of it's getting a little bit better. It must be awful for him to try and work out what to do.
Frustrating, but then you were on about Radulovic not holding it up. Spencer gets back in the good books with a beautiful chest. I'm going to say chest off. Is that such a football phrase? Chest off to Herbie Kane. Honestly, mate, Herbie Kane, I'm loving him more and more each game. He's getting fitter. He's smart. He's finished with just so calm and composed and beautiful and that as well. I wish he'd shave his head and he's in denial, and it reminds me of my dad, like, there's a going ball, but he won't have it. But he's smart.
You just want another member at Bald Nation, that's all.
And you know what? One of the best things about the goal is no celebrations, no nothing. We're not winning at Crawley. We should be winning at Crawley. Jogs back, puts the ball down, crack on. So to me, this guy is showing almost like kind of captaincy tendency. So I really like that. And yeah, it would a nice finish, and all of a sudden 3 minutes were level again. And you're thinking half of the game still left here, but really we didn't. Michael Duff said we battered him later on, and we did create some chances. Obviously, the Karoma header. I know Killer is. I don't like to kind of back Karoma because I know you'll be straight on me, but That header's a shocker, isn't it? I was right behind it. We couldn't believe it. But you're thinking, would Radulovic, he'd probably, I know what you're saying, but I think he'd probably back him to score there, Healy. I think he would, but it's a shame it fell to him. I can't think of any excuse for it. It would have shocker, wasn't it? Shocking miss. That should have been game, set, and match for us then.
Yeah, it were bad, but you've also got to consider he played 27 minutes, Carome, and he had 3 chances. He came on and had 1 chance, obviously, we were there. But like you're looking at chances, Radulovic, I think he had 1 shot, and I think Marshall had 1 shot. Caroma played a third of the game and had 3 times as many shots as anybody else because he gets into the right places. He should have done better. He should have won that game. But we shouldn't be going to Crawley needing to score 3 to win when we control a game like we did. He's not clinical enough. He's coming back from an injury, but he's still. And I'll swear to this to the day I die, especially in front of Pozza, the big critical Caroma hater Pozza. But he's the only one that seems to work hard and create those kind of chances. Even Healy, he is clinical when he gets the chance, but he doesn't get as much as Caroma. And if I'm defending Town, it's Caroma I'm most worried about because of how busy he is. But he should have won that game for us. Absolutely should have won that game.
Caroma, it's actually nice to have a striker that does miss chances because it means he's actually getting there for him. You know, you can't remember. I mean, he had 2 or 3 when, like you said, he had 2 or 3 when he came on at weekend. You can't remember Radulovic getting in position for 2 or 3 chances in all games he's played. Because he just doesn't, does he? He's the epitome of a waste of space.
He didn't have a shot. He didn't have a shot Radulovic on Saturday either against Crawley. Neil didn't even have a shot. Bojan.
No. Well, when you got strikers at the, I'm not big on alt stats. I know you were Matt in all XGs and stuff, but when he's 0.0 and he's a striker and you're away at Crawley, there's something majorly wrong, isn't there? You know, there's something major wrong. Caroma's come on, and if they're both fit, it's Charlton next match at home.
Yeah.
If they're both fit for that, you've just got to start with Caroma and Healy. You have to. There's no other option because they are the only 2 that will get you the goal and look remotely likely to get you a goal. Marshall's done all right, but it'd be on bench for me to come and replace one of them 2 when Healy no doubt gets injured again.
Well, Marshall does all hard work though. Marshall does all hard work. He runs down channels. He's not going to be a guy who's going to score 30 goals. Marshall. He's a guy that scores 5 to 10 and gets somebody else to score 25 goals. He's that kind of guy. Yeah. But that's the problem with Town. If you don't spend mega money on a striker, you've got to try and hope you can get one from somewhere else. We're hoping Caroma can be it. We hoped Bojan could be it for $500,000. I don't think he'll ever be it. Caroma might be good enough, and Marshall's got to be a part of that. But I'm with you. Healy's the 9 in 8, and Caroma's the guy that can help him, I think. And between them, they're the best options we have at the moment.
Yeah, absolutely.
I know we obviously, the Tamworth game, I still can't forget it, to be honest. But this were kind of a similar thing, wasn't it? You know, obviously, a team that were in non-league not too long ago, you know, kind of tight stadium, etc. So did we pass the test? I don't think we did. And, I heard a couple of other podcasts going on, you know, saying, yeah, points good if we beat Charlton. But what are you wanting? Are you wanting automatic or playoffs? To me, you've got to be winning that game. They're 22nd. They're crap, man. They were rubbish. They had nothing to offer, but we gifted them goals. You know what? You don't mind, do you, if one of their guy bags one in from 25 yards or, you know, whatever. I mean, to be fair, the first goal took his finish well, but we're gifting stuff away. And like you said, Killer, I don't, you know, people go, you know, saying the manager this on training ground. I just don't know. Michael Duff must be absolutely spewing because he would have defended. If you think when he would have defended, he was a quality man. He didn't give anything away. He was a proper defender. So he must. I get it's like a kind of a project player, Longvic, but he must be like drilling it into him on Monday to Friday, and then just to see that on a Saturday, he's got to be so frustrating. Honestly, I'm a massive fan of Michael Duff. I'm not. Whether this football, you know, is as exciting as some people would want it, I don't know. But I can't fault any of his assessments. And you can tell he's counting to 10 on some of them. And we'll move on to Man United now because I find it fascinating where, you know, you 2 guys saw the game. I was working. But the one thing that amused me in the interview when I came back, it's like, I thought we'd lost. It's like, you were raging with the first half. You were raging with it. He's like, we can't just turn it on and off when we want. And he's been consistent. He's been consistent with that, and the all season and that as well about that, turning it on and off. But was the first half? What was it? Just the attitude? What is it? We don't see us. We start bad, or why would it so poor first half? It's just because it's a nondescript game, maybe, or What would
Yeah,
you expect?
I think it was exactly that. I think we turned up, and
It was a strong team, wasn't it? I couldn't believe it.
I 100% do not agree with having under-21 sides in this competition. Before we go in, I think it's absolute bollocks, to be honest. It just shouldn't be happening. You're expecting senior pros to go and potentially get humbled by a load of kids. I don't think that's the place for it. I think it's wrong. I don't agree with it at all. And I think Town probably turned up other night. A little bit of that involved, a little bit of, why I'm having to play against a load of 16, 17, 18, 19-year-olds, don't care who they are, where they're from.
Neil, did you agree with the strong team that he picked? Did you agree with the strong team? Because to me, it would almost like a message was saying, look, we're not...
Honestly, yeah, I did. And normally, I would be all for getting rid of that competition, getting out of it as quick as possible. But I think on the back of the Tamworth and the Crawley results, it could not afford to not win that game and not win that game comfortably. And luckily, we got a couple of really, really late goals. I think 2-1. There'd have been a lot of dissent still across the social media channels, but the fact that it ended up 4, for those that haven't watched it, it looks a lot better, doesn't it? I think 4-1. We should have probably scored a few more, to be honest. I think, overall, I think we'd have come off that with half a dozen. I don't think anyone would have thought it wasn't about right for that game. But it's a complete mismatch in it, and I just don't think it should happen. I don't think their lads gain anything from it. I don't think seasoned professionals across the leagues gain anything from that. It's not even like they're going to go and play away in a big stadium. All those games under 21 sides travel, so there's not even that pull to it. So it's a load of bollocks, and they've done the same with National League now, haven't they? They've given them another worthless cup competition with under 21 sides. Pointless.
Killer Ben Wiles, what a player, mate! This season, some people will never be won over by him. He reminds me of the Anthony Kay kind of back in the day, and that as well. I'm a Marmite player, but his stats are unbelievable. And the goal, it was. Obviously, lack of football this week, but he was showpiecing the Sky Sports News, Sky Sports Twitter, because what a goal that was, wasn't it? It was fantastic. That's what it's about. And the thing what I like about it is he's not afraid to have a go, is he? And that as well. And you're seeing, you like his stats, but I think he's up there as like best midfielder in the division on stats or up top 3 and stuff. But the guy, when he's hot, and he does go missing in games, but you can't argue with that strike. What a goal that was, wasn't it?
He's been brilliant. He's been brilliant this season. And honestly, the fact that I still have to feel like I'd have to defend him all the time, and it has up until now, because we know this, the amount of times people say, I can't believe you still like Wiles, even up until maybe 2 or 3 games ago, it was a week, I think 1 week he was great, and then next week he missed something. And I feel like Town fans sometimes get a little bit of a problem with a certain type of player, don't they? They say, he doesn't do anything or whatever. And they're kind of waiting for him to fail. And I think we're getting past that now, because he's putting in such good performances when it comes to actually creating chances and scoring goals that nobody can argue it anymore. But I thought last year he looked good. But the problem we had last year is we had Jack Radone. And now Jack Radone plays in a similar position to what Wiles is doing now, in that Radone played high. He was the free man. He ran everywhere, could do what he wanted. And then we had Wiles and Hogg really kind of having to adjust for him. And that stopped Wiles being able to do what he does best. And I always thought last year there was a player in Ben Wiles, but he'd never work with Radone. And now at the beginning of this season, we tried it with Evans and Wiles. And Evans has come in as a League One player, player of the season at Bristol Rovers, scored goals. He can't get close to Ben Wiles at the moment, can he? I know he's out with a bruised toe, I think he's got, and that's why he didn't make the squad on Tuesday. But he can't get close to him because Ben Wiles has made that position. And if you're asking me, first name on his team sheet at the moment, it's Ben Wiles, without any doubt. Honestly, on Tuesday night, he was great. Even in the first half, I thought the first half was a bit of copy and paste from Crawley, guys. I thought it was a bit like, we did control it. Again, it wasn't great. Lonvik got done by, is it Ennis? Was it Ennis on the right-hand side? All game, Man United, they're just trying to ping it because he was so far off him, Nigel, that Ennis was free all the time. And for the first half an hour, they were just pinging it to his corner and he was causing all sorts of problems. But apart from that, frantic first 20, Town were okay, rode it out. We 1-0 up. Brilliant finish. He had a lot of time to hit it, to be fair. They didn't really come and close him down quick enough. And that's the difference between youth football and senior football. Senior football, if you're at the edge of the box, you've got half a sniff, you're smashing it, and you're smashing it quick, and they didn't close him down quick enough. Great finish. But then again, Miller, left-hand side, one of our, again, starting. Why is he not? Even Duff afterwards, Duff saying, why is he not fouling him? You've got to foul him there. You have to foul him. Because you know if you don't, you're in trouble.
Yeah.
And this is against, again, okay, they had, is it Terrell Marcellia playing left-back, who they paid 13 million for Man United a few years ago. He's got Dutch international caps. But he was on the other side. It's not even on that side where these goals come down and the mistakes come down. But Miller's got to take him down. And Lundvik, it was just another one of those moments where we controlled the game, we've got in front, but then stupid errors. And okay, it's only I'm with you, Neil. I think it's stupid under 21 side playing it. And I went down, and I don't really agree with going, but because I'm coaching now, there's very few games I can get to in person. I had a chance to go down, so I thought otherwise I wouldn't have gone. I kind of chuck it in with MK Don's situation, to be honest, personally. But just again, we were good. We were okay that first half. Lundvik should have been better. He wasn't great, but we were all right. We got in front, and we should have counted it out. But again, stupid error. They're back in it, and no wonder Duff's going mental. That would have been 3 games in a row. Tamworth is still, for me, worst result we've ever had, bar Colchester in 1948 or whatever on paper, because it wasn't a performance where we battered him. It's not like Accrington though, where we battered him, and then we lost at the end because we had 10 men. That's football that happens. Then you've got Crawley away from home. And
that the one where Worthing got sent off on in a tackle?
Yeah. Never a red card and usual nonsense. And then, but that's the different. You can accept losing like that because it's just things have gone against you. Tamworth weren't like that. They out-battled us, they outplayed us, they out-prepared us, and we couldn't adjust and we didn't. That was bad. And then Crawley 2-0, when we've controlled the game, we've gifted them 2 goals. That were bad. There's no way we could have done it 3 times in a row.
What were the mood like in the stadium, mate? I know there weren't many there, but what were the mood like in the stadium after an hour? Then it were 1-1 with the dissenters, or not really? Were they not? It was just kind of nothing.
No, to be fair, they were bloody Man United vloggers right in front of me, and they were annoying the crap out of me. Anyway, they were like, obviously, I think if you're a Man United fan, it's hard to get to games, isn't it? Right, and it's rich me saying this because we're doing this, right? We're podcasting as if we're experts, and we're not. But these young lads in front of us in Townend, you could have got it Manchester United if you wanted, but it was sat with us, like being over dramatic going through the game. Honestly, it drove me absolutely mental. So I didn't really listen to what the rest of the fans were doing. I was just like, oh, this guy, as if, and I thought if they wanted to be unbearable.
I think I would have actually.
No, it was okay, but there was something kicked off in the crowd because the police were escorting people out at 85th minute on the right hand side near the way in. So I've got no idea what happened there, but.
Scenes,
but there were 3,000 in. The atmosphere was, no one really cared so much. But I thought the tempo of the game were good. I was quite surprised. I expected it to be like the Barnsley, the cup game where we beat them and they were absolutely awful. But the tempo wasn't great. It was good in that second half, especially. And to be fair, the Man United, I didn't think it wasn't to do with fitness. I don't think they didn't have the fitness. It's just we worked out how to beat him. Herbie Kane was fantastic again. And with you, I think his finishing against Crawley was brilliant and cool. And now I thought when Herbie Kane came in, he was an attacking midfielder. And maybe he once upon a time was. And obviously over the summer when he came back, Duff suggested that Kane wasn't exactly where he wanted him to be. So maybe we're shifting the way he plays because he's getting old. He's still the oldest looking 26-year-old I think I've ever seen. If he's 26, he's 26 when he said. Yeah, he's pretty, yeah, exactly, right. But I need to get my stats right on that. I might be wrong. So if I am, I apologise. But he's dropping deeper now into a... I don't think he is, I think he's younger. We'll get back. I'll have a look in a second and come back to you. But he's dropping deeper, isn't it? He's playing now as more of a holding midfielder to allow Wiles to run forward. And between those two and Kasumu when he came on for Ayapenda, Ayapenda struggled, I thought. And
25. What?
25. What? 26 next week.
There you go. Look, there you go. I'm just rounding him up. But Ayapenda went off sick, didn't he? He went off sick after 20 minutes, Ayapenda. And to be fair, he struggled in that first 20. And I thought it was just a gap in ability. But afterwards, it's come out that he was ill. So I'll forgive him for that. But as soon as Kasumu came on, I thought that midfield 3 in that second half dominated the game. As they should do. They're our first choice 3 centre midfielders for me. And they just really started ticking in that second half. And I thought the game was really enjoyable. I mean, it's different.
Just to prove our lives, by the way, England have just scored 1-0, Ollie Watkins.
There we go. There we go. Neil, another one for Healy, and then Kazuma with a collector's item, and Tom Lees, who's managed to miss so many chances this season, did it when it didn't matter, 90+7. But like I said, maybe a flattering scoreline 4-1, but all of a sudden, Bradford City could be happening, could it?
Oh, look at that. We'll all be there for that one. It matters then, doesn't it?
I hope so. But I hope it's at home with his.
I think it is. Yeah.
As soft as we are at the moment in a lot of games, I wouldn't want to go away there. Right now. But at home, I think, let's have them. Let's have them and give them embarrass them.
I think it's what you said, because I was surprised at the team, but then I'm thinking it's a game that they just couldn't afford, especially with the international break, to cock up and whether what you think about the Bristol Street Motors Trophy. All of a sudden, we're out of all the cups, and even no matter what you think of it, it's not a good look. So I think
positive results, cause against if we'd have beat Tamworth and would have won at Crawley, it would have been a very, very, very different 11 it played Man U. Absolutely. Yeah. But like you said, I don't think in any wiggle room after the 2 previous results. He couldn't afford to go and lose to a non-league part-time team and a recently non-league team and a bunch of kids. It just couldn't happen.
It's a bit of a change, isn't it, boys, from Premier League years a few years ago. The fact
if we'd have lost that other night against their kids, would that have been potentially the worst run of results in our history, 3 on bounce?
Absolutely. For me, absolutely.
Yeah, so we're unbeaten in 2 games. Let's get as positive as that, son. So, right, let's just have a little look at the season so far. So, if we'd have got a winner at Crawley, we'd have been 4th, but we're not. We're 8th. 14 games played, won 7, drawn 2, lost 5, 21 scored, 14 conceded, 23 points. We're 9 off the top, we're 7 off second. Birmingham got a game in hand, they'll win it. So, we're quite a few games off the top. 2 points off 4th, 2 points off 12, however you want to look at it as well. League Cup, obviously we did a job over Morecambe, but then Walsall did a job over us. FA Cup, enough said, we've already mentioned it. But suppose overall, then, you know what, when I was thinking about this today, thinking, oh, wait, because there's a lot of season to go, but we're probably where I thought we might be. I always thought we'd be a bit more, but when I'm thinking there's a lot of players coming in, a lot of, kind of new manager coming in, we've kind of done half a job, I think, with the reconstruction of everything as well. We are probably, as much as I'd want us to see us 3rd and point off the top, we are probably where I thought we would be, if I'm being honest with you. And we're not, when we've drawn so many games last couple of seasons. This season we've only decided to draw 2, but overall, Neil, is it where, considering what came in the summer, are you a bit disappointed where we are, or is it kind of what you thought when we started?
I never thought in this league that would see us lose 7, 8, 9 games on bounce. Genuinely never thought that would happen. I think that were, in the recent history of this club, I think that were an unacceptable run, especially at this level, with the players that we have got. They've shown that they can compete at this level. That's been proven already. But they've also shown that they can fall apart like a cheap suit at this level as well. And I think a lot of that's an hangover from the previous years that we've struggled in. And when it positive put it into group chat earlier on about over the last however many years, we're 5th in the league. We're 5th in the table for the most home defeats in the last 5 years. And it's 80 odd. And, when we're getting asked of questions of why aren't people turning up at home? Why don't people want to come? That's why. It's because we've gone through defeat after defeat after defeat. It's demoralising, and it gets to you, and it gets to the point where you do fall out of love with it to a certain extent. And then at this league, at this level, when you're losing comfortably over teams, and no disrespect to Northampton, they were just better than us on there. But when we're losing comfortably at home against teams like that, then following it up with an almost identikit performance against Blackpool and getting easily beat again, that's where the disenchantment comes. That's where everyone gets fed up. Are we where we thought I'd be? Are we where we thought I'd be? They'd be. We'd be. Oh, I've got to go and speak. I expected us to be top 6 by now. I think another couple of signings over at summer, I think we probably would have been. Have we been unlucky with injuries? Are we the only club in the league that gets injuries? I don't think so. I think we just notice them more because they're ours. Is the squad good enough to cope for our injuries? I think it's been proven that it isn't, to be honest. January is going to be huge for us if we do want to make that top 6. I know there's rumours that this deal for Taylor's apparently done for January. Is it? We'll find out, won't we? But we definitely need somebody who knows where net is. I still think we're light in midfield. I think Wiles and Kane get shirts. I think the other one's up for grabs. I'm still not convinced by Kasumo, mate. Iapenda still needs... I think Iapenda probably needs to get loaned out in January for half a season and go and play some football. I think that'll do him world of good and probably do us good further down the line. We need Bolker back. We probably need another defender. We give goals away for fun, don't we? You know, we are literally keep.
Kasumo's been his best player, Neil, this season.
Really? No. Not for me. Not for me. Ben Wiles is comfortably in his best player this season.
And Ben Miles then, but
not even close.
Killer, what about you, mate? Because I think you had us for seventh. Let me get the seventh for the end of the season. So I suppose just how it's gone the first 14 games, chuck the cup games in. About what you thought? Disappointed?
I think your view on this comes back to what you thought we'd do at the beginning of the season. And I did have us as seventh. I thought we'd start poor. I actually thought we'd be worse than we are at the moment. I think Duff's generally been quite slow to get teams to perform. And I think we haven't been that bad. We've left points on the field that we should have them. We should be further up the table. I think I didn't expect to be having the problems that we're having though. So my issue at the moment with Town is the way we're defending makes sense. The way that he's trying to attack, I don't understand. I don't see how Town are trying to build attacking play. And I know this is a bit technical or whatever, but I just don't. When we're attacking, if I ask you boys, how do we attack? How do Town score goals? We score from corners, but I don't really see a system yet for us to be able to create, apart from Wiles on the edge of the box. And that's a big worry for me. Like this now we're into November, middle of November. We've played 14, 15 games in the league. And I still can't see the patterns of play that I'd expect. So when you're like looking at where the season's going to go from here, I still think we've got so much work to do. And we aren't a team, again. So in American football, in American sports, they refer to certain seasons as being rebuilding years. And okay, you don't have relegation, so they can do it. I honestly think as a club, we're in a year of rebuilding, right? And that we aren't ready to get promoted anyway. Even if we went up this season, do you think the squad that we have is anywhere near being good enough to stay in the division above? It's miles off. It's absolutely miles off. And we see, like Peterborough and Rotherham, when they go up and they're not quite ready, they come straight back down. And unless they're going to spend mega money, even if we did go up this year, I don't think we're ready for it. I think we're miles away from championship level football club when it comes to what we've got on the pitch. And then even if we finish in the playoffs, so having seen us against most teams, I think we'll actually now scrape in. I think we'll be fifth or sixth. I think the top three with Wickham especially and Birmingham and somebody else will really stake a claim. Mansfield look better than I expected them to be, and Wrexham are kind of still there. I still fancy Stockport and Lincoln are doing all right. There's a few teams that are doing okay, and somebody else will get on a good run. But I wouldn't back us to win in the playoffs anyway, would you? With the mental frailties that we've got, even if we scraped into the playoffs, this team, as of today for me, isn't even close to having the correct mental attitude to winning the playoffs. Like when we lost to Millwall years ago, when we were great all season and Millwall absolutely stuffed us in the playoffs. Yeah. That's it. I feel like we're in a similar boat anyway. So even if we scrape in at the moment, I wouldn't say we're even close to being a team that will get promoted this year. But I do think we're actually better than, which I guess most people are the opposite to me, in that they probably think we're doing worse than what we expected. And I actually think we're a little bit further forward. It's just that attacking football I really struggle with. I don't understand how we're going to try and score goals, because it doesn't really make much sense to me just yet. But that's on Michael Duff. Maybe in January we'll go out and spend big. I mean, last year Mark Cartwright over-delivered, didn't he? According to Kevin Nagel, with what Bolker, Healy, and Bojan Radulovic. So as long as we overperform a little bit more than that this time, we might be all right.
It's been a bit of a mad season. Obviously, we won the first 3, 4 if you took the Morecambe game in. Then Walsall, second half, all went wrong. Rotherham, we got robbed by that referee and Sorensen. But then after that, then we came back and beat Bolton, so you're thinking we're back on track. And then all of a sudden, Northampton, you mentioned there, Blackpool, Reading, Birmingham, all defeats. I remember that Birmingham going into that, just thinking, just keep the score down. We're almost like we were back in champion with Darren Moore again and that as well on there. And then all of a sudden, we've gone 5 unbeaten. Such a strange, honestly, it's one of the weirdest seasons I've known. And it's I haven't really been convinced with it. Probably that Peterborough game, and that was the first thing I think, aye. But then you're thinking, is that the first game? And obviously, they're not having much of a season so far. But
it's not just us. You've only got to look at Stockport last week. They lost 5-0 at home to Wickham, and then on Saturday beat Bolton 5-0.
Yeah,
I mean, it's just ridiculous, isn't it? There's no.
Liam Nichols been out. Has that had much? Can you kind of put some of that down to him? It's not just the goals we conceded. I don't think Chapman out. I can think, Maxwell obviously in the cup, but that's debatable. But Chapman, is it more his presence that we're missing there? Or we're not missing him, are we? Maybe.
I think you probably are just for his vocalness in amongst. But I think Chapman's done all right, to be honest. I don't think he's not done anything where I've thought, Christ, we need to get him out of the team. There's nothing, if been different. I'm glad it wasn't him that made the mistake that Maxwell made, because I think for a young keeper that would have been a lot harder to come back from. But yeah, I don't think it's made that much difference, to be honest. I don't think it made that much difference not having Ellick inside for that length of time either.
I was just going to mention Ellick. Where does he get back in? How does he get back in, or does he? Does he even get back in?
Yeah, he does for me. I mean, at minute, if you're picking 3 out of the ones that are fit, it'd got to be Pearson, Ellick, and Longwick for me. I'd leave Lees out personally, but Ellick's got to get fit and get right first, hasn't he? And then Bolkers. Let's be fair, for the fleeting bits that we've seen, he looked really good, didn't he? He looked like the centre half that would have craved. So let's hope he can get fit for fairly early into New Year and see what he's about. So that could be a game.
If I'd have said to you, like, Ruffles and Turton had barely featured this season in August, would you have thought, yeah, probably? Or would
Well, to be fair, Ruffles were an academy team, wasn't it, over there?
Yeah. I mean, that got absolutely destroyed at York against Sheffield United. But is it just a matter, mate, of obviously different systems? Duff don't fancy him or not? Because I think quite a few. I mean, Turton's beautiful cross for the goal on Tuesday, but he just don't feel part of the setup. I think January, them two could be adios, maybe.
It's strange. Duff seems quite strange with his selections, because for me, I thought Turton were actually really good on Tuesday night. And again, you're up against what you're up against, but I thought he were all right. I think Turton's been fine when he's the few moments we've seen him this season. But for whatever reason, Duff just doesn't seem to want to pick him. It's the same with Freddie Ladapo, to be fair. He wasn't even on bench, was he even on the bench against Crawley? I don't even think he made the matchday squad. I might be wrong. But I don't feel like he did it, which is just quite strange.
It is when you've tracked him for 2 years, isn't it? So, no.
It's just strange. But that again supports my opinion that even Duff thinks we're in a bit of a rebuilding year. He's trying to figure out who can do what in his system, and he's slowly getting it together, going to stick with it. And I am surprised with Turton, because I think of all the players that don't get real game time, I think he'd be good as a wing back. Sorensen started really well, but then since that Rotherham game, struggled, didn't he? Sorensen's just not defensively not great, whereas Turton is. And I think what happens then is Turton's defensively solid, so Miller can do a little bit more forward. So against Man United, it kept shifting to like a back 4, and that Miller were higher, and then Turton would drop, and then Longwick could go out to the left, and it were like a normal kind of back 4 in rather than the 3 that we seem to play all the time. It's just really strange. But Duff, we've failed manager after manager after manager. You have to, at this point, put your faith in a manager to get it right in his system. And if it's going to take him a year or so to get it right and to figure out what players he wants to play, then I think it's time that we have to let him do it and try and build something. And he's ultimately the one that decides if they play or not. And he doesn't fancy Ruffles. Like I say, was it under 21s? Is that what we said? Was it under 18s? It's ridiculous that he didn't get a chance. For me, I thought Ruffles, again, there's been moments in the Championship where he's been more than serviceable. So for him not to get near the trophy game was a bit of a strange one. But no, Duff's got to get his own team the way he wants it, I guess. And there are going to be players. Like, I'm surprised Spencer's getting as much game time, because with Spencer's normally, you'd say a fullback, wouldn't you, in a back 4? Yeah. Yet now we're kind of trying to shoehorn him into either being a centre back or a wing back, and realistically he's been neither. But Duff's persisting there, but he's not with certain.
Joe Hodge has been a big mate. I liked what I saw when he kind of came in. He gave us a little bit, and typical that we're missing him, and that. So I'm looking forward to seeing him back. When you look at through the big midfields, I think to me the big the big, I don't know, flop, but maybe you have to say a flop. Was Bristol Rovers Player of the Season, Neil? Unbelievable, Anthony Evans. I think if you that first game, mate, at Peterborough, you thought this is the man, and bench, and he's obviously he's injured now with his toe, but I mean it's obviously still a long season. But I think out of everyone we signed, mate, I think he's the biggest surprise out of them all, really.
Yeah, I think flops a bit too far, to be honest. I think he's potentially been a victim of trying to shoehorn people in at the start of the season, not knowing what best 11 is, and I think we've got to the point now where it's very clearly worked that Wiles is the best in that position that we've currently got. And I think that is Evans' natural space to be. He's not naturally there for the role that Kane's playing. I think you get Odge fit. I'd like to see Odge and Kane together with Wiles in front of them. I think that'd be the best three that we've got on books, to be honest.
Scott I back from Halifax. Fancy it?
You'd have to be high to pick him, wouldn't you? I mean, come on. He'll go out on loan again and then get a free transfer tag at some end of season, won't he? That's just what's going to happen there. But you know, I hope he goes and makes a decent career for himself. He's one of those that never ruffles feathers, in it. Goes and does a job. He's gone out and played football at Halifax. It'll have done him good. He's not for us. But yeah, Evans far from a flop. I think he's showed enough in a few bits and pieces that there's a footballer in there. Pre-season, he'll probably the pick of those few, to be honest.
Yeah, he was.
But I just don't think, we can't write him off yet. And Wiles has got to keep doing this week in, week out, and at this level, that's impossible. So I think Evans is the ready-made replacement, and the proof's in the pudding then, isn't it? Because when he does get that chance, which he inevitably will through suspension or injury or something, he's the natural fit, and then he's got to take that chance, hasn't he? So over to him then. But yeah, he's
good name for a podcast, Neil. Good name for a podcast, mate.
But sorry, because the thing with Evans is, I think, when people refer to strikers, they need to play to get goals and then kind of warm up into it, and then they have a bit of a run. Evans hasn't had that chance yet, whilst playing Wiles' role. So Wiles against Man United was everywhere. He had license to do what he wanted in that final third. And now when Evans was playing for us, we had two high centre midfielders, didn't we? We had him and Wiles high with one defensive central midfielder. And that's when we got dominated in midfield game after game after game. Since we've switched it and Wiles has really come alive and looked even better, Evans hasn't really had that chance yet for me. I don't think he's had that same opportunity. And to be fair, whenever you see Evans play, I have the feeling that he gets quite frustrated with things. Whenever you see he's quite an angry player, he does throw himself in a little bit.
One thing
he doesn't look like he's happy playing, does he, at the moment for his Kosi? He looks like he's frustrated a lot.
No. He had them games I saw, because I sit right near the dugout now in case no one hasn't heard from about every single podcast. But he shouts, he's a bad loser, which is a good thing to have. But he shouts, his dissent, he likes to bollock people. I'm thinking, hang on a minute, mate, you haven't got any credit in the bank here. So he's shouting at other people. And I'm thinking, if I'm a player like Tom Lees or whatever, I'm thinking, hang on a minute, mate, he'll only just come here and stuff. But
it's the law, wasn't it?
Yeah.
So that's probably just his personality in it. If he were captain at Bristol, you can't switch that out of somebody. That's just.
And he was main man though, and that's it, Neil. And he's main man, and he's not main man here. And now that's a hit on the ego, and he's going to have to readjust and get used to it. He's not going to be the biggest man here, because we're a bigger club than Bristol Rovers. I hate saying we're a bigger club than somebody else, but we are. We've got better players than Bristol Rovers have, such as Ben Wiles is better than him at the moment, and he's got to adjust to that. And I think that's very difficult for a footballer to get used to sometimes if they've been the big boy for quite a while. And I honestly think that's the thing with Evans. And I'm sure he'll adapt and get used to it, but he's going to have to. He's going to have to, because at the moment, like you say, because he's not been a flop, but from what we expected from him, he's offered very little.
No. Killer, we're talking about being the big man. Jonathan Ogg, obviously, we've done these podcasts a lot this season and saying he's still starting. Well, this going to be the year that it's just going to be on the bench? And obviously, it's more the injury. I think that's taken him out of the plans rather than probably a manager's choice. But Jonathan Ogg, part of me thinks, that game at Tamworth, does that happen if he's on? But where are you with it all, Killer? Are you kind of, when he gets fit again, it just, to me, you don't get in, or what's your thoughts?
Do you know what? It's surprising here because if you'd have asked me this a few weeks ago, I'd have said I'm expecting Kasuma or Hodge to come in and take his kind of role. But it's Herbie Kane. Herbie Kane has now become, for us, what Hogg was a little bit. You can just see he slows the game down. He leads. He's there and thereabouts in that holding role. But he's got Kasuma doing the running next to him. I think we've evolved past needing Johnny Hogg at the moment. I think at Tamworth, you're right, though. I don't think that happens. A different thing on that 4G pitch. It's a total different game. But I think what Johnny Hogg gives you is he makes sure your performances aren't going to be a 2 out of 10 across the board because he's going to bollock you. He's a leader. He's going to improve everybody a little bit. But then I think his physical abilities nowadays aren't what they were. So you're then limiting the ability of your own midfield if you have him in there. There's going to be moments we need him, but it's going to be towards. But how old is Johnny Hogg now? Look, compared Johnny Hogg to Herbie Kane in looks, and you'd get it wrong every single time when you're saying he was 10 years older than the other one. But I think I don't like saying his legs have gone. It's not that. It's just as you get older, your reactions get a little bit slower. And I think it's actually catching up with him now. And I know we're not allowed to say that on this podcast because every time we do, we get an absolute bollocking off a few people. But I think we're better without him in. And he's still a great servant. Great to have around the club. Absolutely. Don't want him to go anywhere. But if you're asking for your starting 3 midfielders, he's not in there, is he?
No, he's literally 10 years older than Herbie Kane.
Neil, you've touched on the strike force before. Marshall, Healy, Ladapo, Bojan, Karoma, Ward. Who's impressed you most, maybe, out of them? I mean, it's not exactly a fantastic list, is there? But hopefully the best is yet to come from some of those guys. But it's, the Ladapo thing, couldn't believe the signing, I'll be honest with you. He speaks volumes of what even on the bench, maybe, I don't know, was ill or whatever, who knows?
I'll be honest, I mentioned him on Twitter ages ago, purely because I was just desperate for us to get a striker in. But yeah, he's shy, isn't he? You know,
Neil.
About it. Bojan, empty shirt. Healy, if he could stay fit, is a 20-goal striker at this level. I believe.
If the guy comes in from Luton, what's your pairing?
Well, if he comes in after all chasing, he starts, doesn't he? And then it's probably Karoma because Healy won't be fit long enough. I think Karoma has earned that he comes straight back on bench when he's nearly fit, and he's earned that he goes straight back in if he's fit for the next match. I think he's the one who looks the most likely. He's like Killer said earlier on, you know, he came on at Crawley and missed 2 really good chances. You know, earlier in the season, I think a fully fit Karoma bags at least one of them, to be honest.
Kieran Phillips? No.
Kieran Phillips now needs sending out on loan somewhere over here. Not in that league over there. Him and I appended a bit first 2 out at door in January for me.
What about League
2 learn a bit. You what, sorry?
Bojan, Neil, would you try and get him away, or have you given up on him? Would you?
I was going to take him. Take him. I'd give him a job in that H-Town, that new bar, see if he can do out in there. He's just not at this level, is he? He's not at this level. And he doesn't look like it. He looks like he don't want to be here. He plays like he don't want to be here. The fact that he's, like what Killer said earlier on, the fact that he's still getting picked is baffling. You know, and the fact that Marshall's been upped a couple of times at half time and he hasn't, you're looking, you're thinking, are we watching the same game?
Even Danny Ward, Neil, offers more than Radulovic did. Danny Ward the other day, he should have scored when he missed the note. Yeah.
If it were a straight choice between Ward and Radulovic, it's Ward every day at week and twice on a Sunday. And I won't pick Ward.
That's what I mean. I don't understand why it doesn't happen.
It's absolutely ridiculous. If we didn't see Ward, Ladapo, and Radulovic second half of the season, and Karoma and Healy can stay fit, and this new lad comes in, that's your 3 strikers, isn't it? Sorry, a Marshall.
Neil in January, just another striker, guys. Is that all we need in January? Just another striker?
We need some more goals from somewhere. But you know what? The Ladapo signing makes me laugh. Right? Have you seen the Sunderland Till I Die documentary? On the first season, they're going to transfer deadline day, and they're like, right, we don't need anyone. We're fine. Don't go silly, boys. Don't go silly. Nothing's happening. Nothing happening. Next minute, they sign Will Grigg for no reason whatsoever and splash stuff. We didn't need Ladapo. Why? Yeah, what? It was like that, though, isn't it? It's like, we're fine. Next minute, Ladapo, bring him in. He's the only one available. And then we're not even trying him. And like, I honestly, against Tamworth, I actually thought he was a bit. I know again what level we're at when he came on at the end. I thought he were all right. I thought he probably better shout than Radulovic. But for whatever reason, Radulovic must have information on someone, because how he's getting starts, I have no idea at this point. But we need some more goals. We do need more goals. We need. Do you know what though? In fact, it's maybe not even goals. We just need a presence. We don't have somebody like against Tamworth. The guy they had up top, that Dan Creaney, he was just a big unit, and you could throw it long to him, and our defenders hated it. Now, if we have a game at the moment where it's not quite working with option 1 or 2, Danny Ward isn't that much different than Reece Healy. Marshall isn't that much different than Karoma. Ladapo is not that much different than Radulovic. We don't have anybody really, I don't think, where we can go, right, it's not working, plan B, chuck somebody on and they're going to cause problems. We don't have that. I don't exactly know what kind of striker that is that we need, but just somebody that can have some sort of impact and offer something different. Not even direct goals themselves, but just something to change a game up. Because at the moment, it seems very much, doesn't it, like we've got plan A, and if it's not working, we'll bring on existing strikers that offer us the same plan A.
Don't you think it's part of the problem with modern football, though? I remember going down to MK Dons quite a few years back, and there were me, Poz, and Poz's dad went down to MK, and we were losing 1-0. We'd had a man sent off, and we brought on, and we finished the game with Naki Wells playing directly between Mark Hudson and Joe Lynch as a front three. And from a knockdown from one of them two, Wells scored equaliser. And
to be fair to Neil Warnock, though, Neil Warnock used to chuck Helic up front every now and again. Like he did, he'd wander up there and score like 9 goals.
It's like it's not allowed in modern football, isn't it? You can't possibly do that. Why? You know, if Helic has scored 9 goals last season, he's a danger in that box. So if you're chasing the winner with 15 minutes left, get another centre half on and chuck Helic up front.
Which brings me nicely on to Michael Duff. That you've got a love out there, so someone obviously agrees with you. Michael Duff, where do you stand with him? I'm a fan. I like his talk. The football is methodical, but he's regimented in his system. Where do you stand with him? I honestly, the more and more I'm thinking about this season, you touched on it, Kelly. It just feels like it's half a job. Give him the tools to finish the job. I don't want another season League One, but honestly, if it means we get a Duff team in, but you're right, Killer, because I just think at the moment we went up with this half and half, we get murdered, mate. But I like the guy, and I just think, I think thumbs up for him, mate. He's inherited. I think if he was on this podcast now, I knew they were struggling, guys, because obviously we went down, but I don't think it'd be as hard as it would be, and that as well. Just to change your mentality. He keeps talking about every single interview, mentality. But it's so difficult, isn't it? Because we all work with different people, don't we? And it's just like some people just fixed on them in their mind with certain things in the job or the people and stuff, and they can't change. So why should footballers be any different? So you have to get them out, don't you? There's nothing we can do, I don't think.
No, I like it. I really like Michael Duff. Whenever you see him speak in the press conferences before and after games, he talks sense. He resonates well with town fans. We are particular people. We like coaches that have certain characteristics, and we like players that have certain characteristics. For me, Duff gets that. He understands it. Maybe it's from coaching at Barnsley and playing at Burnley before, but for every reason, it feels right. I don't, personally, I've spoken about this loads of times. I don't like 3-5-2. I don't like back threes. I don't like wing backs. But I want my team to win games. And if Town winning games, I'll have no problem. And looking at the way it's going at the moment on the field, there's problems I can see, absolutely. But generally, I think it's not doing too bad. And he deserves being supported properly from behind the scenes. We know a lot of players are out of contract in the summer as well, and all these bad eggs that not just he spoke about, but so many different people. Brighton writer, Warnock probably spoke about in different moments. And even as back as Fotheringham, although I don't really want to go that far back.
Please do.
These problems we know. No. Do you know what? I had a shiver there. Triggered myself there, Neil. But there is problems with the playing squad. We know it. Everyone's very well aware of it. It's going to take time to fix. But Duff gets the club. He does understand it. And he gets frustrated at the same things as we do. What really frustrated me with the Tamworth game, not just the performance, but fans suggesting that he threw the game away, that he had no interest in it. Duff was frothing in that Tamworth game. You could see him screaming all game at what was going on with the players because he weren't doing what he wanted them to do. He's got that passion that we do well with, and he needs to be given time and the tools, like you say, Kosi. It's a financial backing. That's what you need to succeed at any level. Appropriate to the division you're in, you need to be supported properly. And now, going into this season, the messages from the club often spoke about how much money we were spending. That we didn't outspend many teams in this division. You know, there was a lot of teams in the top 10 that spent as much or more than we did on one individual player. A lot of clubs spent nearly $500,000 on a player this summer in League One, which is quite surprising, I think, to a lot of fans. But when you're only spending the same as everyone else, it's going to take time to figure it out. We're not doing what Birmingham did. They're splashing 20 million on a player or whatever, 15 million on Stansfield. We can't do that. That's absolutely fine, which means it's going to take longer for him to sort it out. A team that is bereft of problems that we know are there and are so deep-rooted culturally is going to take a strong leader quite a bit of time to figure it out. But Duff, to me, looks like he could be that guy. And we have to, or I will be, and I hope a lot of other people will support him in giving him that time to do it, because he gets us, he gets the fans. I don't think anyone can argue about that.
No, if the unthinkable happened, and I mean, I don't think we'll go up, but if we don't go up, if the answer by the club is that we get rid of him and start again with somebody else, it's the wrong answer. We've got to give him, I agree with everything you've just said, Killer. We've got to give him time. We've got to give him the support. We've got to give him a proper base to work from. You know, we've got to get chance to get some of these shithouses out at the club and start again with a clean slate, you know, with the lads he's bringing in, with a few more signings. Let him build a proper base. He showed it with Barnsley very quickly, how quickly could turn that round from a relegated side. I don't think they had the problems as deep as we've got them over such a long period of time, but he's shown that quality. And one of the things that he does say that I like is that he talks to players and tells them that they've got to earn the fans' trust. And I don't think maybe some of the hierarchy at the club quite get that like he gets it on a sort of a personal level. And that's not a dig at them at all, but I just don't think they do get it like he gets it. You know, they're disappointed that we're not all jumping up and down and screaming and shouting when we're, you know, just scraped a point away at Crawley. You know, the fact is we've had, other than the playoff season, we've had 6-7 years of rancid football, rancid Saturday afternoons that have only been rescued by the fact that you've gone with people you want to go with. The football itself has been horrific. And, you know, that's why people aren't going. And they have got to earn the trust of the fans back, because the fans are used to seeing us lose. It's become ingrained, and it's hard to break away from that. And that's proven by how we do collapse when we go goal behind, because I think it filters round between the players, between the fans. And I say it all the time, you know, we are the epitome of a one and done team. You know, as soon as we do fall behind, you can almost feel that we might as well go start car. You know, and wouldn't it be nice if you just sat gripped to your seat till end? You know, and it's not about styles of football for me. It's about winning football. And if we're winning every week, nobody care what the style of football is. When Warnock first came, I know we're going back a lot of years, but when Warnock first came in, the football was attritional. He kept us up. He got us to a Wembley final in the Bristol Street, whatever it were called then. And that was the sort of the turning point. And the football the season after, it wasn't fast flowing. It wasn't the tippy tappy great football, keep it on ground, but you knew you were going to score 3 every week. And that's what gets fans excited. The fact that you're going to turn up and you're going to look like you're going to probably win most games, or at least compete. And I think that's all that we ask as fans, is that we actually turn up and compete. And, you know, I think we're pretty level-headed on that front. But unfortunately, we've not competed enough over the last few years. And Duff is, in my opinion, Duff is 100% the man to take that torch right now for the foreseeable.
We've got a few questions, to be fair. I think we've covered quite a lot of them by having our chat. But Mark Harrison, what is a priority for Duff? Personnel or tactics? New striker? Do we need a pacey one or a target man? Or both? The trolley Dolly himself at Northampton, Scott Bradley. How many chances does Bojan need? We need to get rid of him in January. Struggles in the league. Struggle being non-league Tamworth. Struggle being a bunch of kids not good enough. Dukes, assuming we had no injury issues, what would your preferred starting 11 be? So that's an interesting one. Killer?
Yeah, I think it nearly picks itself. I didn't actually touch on Nichols. I think Nichols this year wasn't great. It hasn't been great. And I love Chapman's distribution. I think if both of them were fit now, Nichols would probably get the start. But personally, I don't think there's much in it. But I'll have to go with Nichols to start off with. But I'm with Neil on centre backs. I think you'd have Bolker, Helik, and Lonvik. Even though I've got issues with Lonvik's concentration, I think if he's got a little bit more pace with Helik and Bolker, he'd probably be better. But Bolker we won't see this season, will we? I think is it going to be next year when he's back? Or is it?
Said January,
exactly what he's
back on grass.
Did they? Well,
back on grass.
Oh, is he back on grass? Back on grass.
Back on
well, grass. Then Sorensen on right hand side. I'm going to go somewhere there, but I'll leave that. Sorensen on the right hand side, Miller on the left hand side, midfield with Herbie Kane and Kasumu for me. I think he has been good. Wiles up top with Karoma and Marshall for now. I just think because again you'd put Healy in there, but we've never seen him fit. He's and for me with Healy, I think if there's a half a chance that it falls to anybody, you want it to be him because he's the most clinical. But he doesn't create as many chances for me. He's not as busy as I expected him to be. But again, that might be fitness wise because he's not played very much. So I'd have Karoma and Marshall, but that'd be my first 11 anyway.
Neil, I've got a question for you here. It's TFC Dreams, interesting one. Duff said how angry he was at half-time being Man United. Why do you think Town have such weak, soft, unprofessional players in the starting 11 playing teams below their level? Do we have a culture problem?
I think we've just covered that, haven't we, on my last rant, to be honest. I think it's ingrained over a period of time. It's not a new thing. It's a built-in over 6-7 years thing. And even the season we got to the playoff final, it wasn't particularly great, was it? If we're being honest, it wasn't edge of your seat stuff, was it? So, and that sounds really hard to say on the side that, I got to the playoff final, I get to the Premier League, but yeah, it's ingrained over a period of time, and like Killer touched on earlier on, that will take a period of time to turn that round. It's a proverbial oil tanker job in it, and we've only just started round first bend really. So
Dean Smith mentioned, why am I bored of the team this season? We are winning more than usual. The football is okay to watch, but I'm struggling to get excited for games. Help. He says, do you think that we've concentrated on off-the-field matters and taken our eye off on what really matters, a winning team? I love what is happening off the field and with the stadium, but if we don't have a winning team, the stadium will be half full. If I could come in on that, I think that's unfair, like for Nagel. I don't think we have. I think he's backed. I know obviously not Birmingham style backing. I think we're getting Cartwright to rights here, and for me, I think Nagel's kept his side of the bargain. In my opinion, we're backing the team and that as well. So I think it's easy to stick to beating with me that H-Town and the painting and the concourses and this and that and the other. I think, or am I out of order?
They look nice though, don't they?
Yeah, but am I out of order? Has he not backed him like he should? Have we taken his eye off the ball? I'm not sure we have. Or did you? I suppose phrase it this way: did you think we'd throw a bit more at it off season than we?
No, I think it's the stadium has never looked better. The facilities are great. My father-in-law's actually provided the furniture. He's a furniture supplier for H-Town and stuff. They've spent money on it. They know exactly. They're putting things in place there, so Town can hopefully benefit commercially long term. That's really good, but that doesn't mean they've not done it on the pitch either. We've spent what we've spent. I don't think anyone expected anything more than what's happened. I think what the problem is. I'm going to be careful. I'm going to get in trouble. I think the problem is the perspective of the fans in that we're playing Crawley and we're expecting to beat them because it's teams like Crawley. It's an ego thing on Town fans not getting up for it a little bit because we think we're too big for this division. It's a bit of a reset. We're a bit older, us boys. You two older than me. But we've been here before. We know what it's like. We've been to Division 3. We know what Town have faced before, and we're here again. I think there's an element of younger fans that probably only happened for a couple of years, and then we were in Championship, and then we've moved on from there. But I just don't think people are excited as much anymore because we've been to the big time. We've been to the Premier League. So when it is Crawley away from home, it's natural to feel, oh, it's only Crawley. So when we win, we expect to win. But if we lose, it's, oh, bloody hell, we've lost to Northampton at home. But if you beat Northampton at home, no one really cares because you should beat Northampton at home. And I feel like there's no upside to some of these wins. There's only potential downsides. And because we're not winning every game comfortably and we're facing problems, I think it's just set a bit of a not negative atmosphere, just a bit of a placid one. However, if you're getting towards the end of the season and you're looking like you're scoring goals again, it'll soon change. We're just at that point of the season where it is a season of attrition, actually, like you said, with that first season under Warnock, where we're just trying to get it together and just stay in contention and we'll get better as it goes. But I think that's quite hard for Town fans to adjust to. But then you can't blame them when Nagel is coming out every now and again saying, "No, it's not good enough when we lose to Doncaster under 21s," or we've got to be top. What did he say about top 2 just a couple of weeks ago? He said, "Oh, we won't be happy if we're not top 2 or something like that." I can't remember exactly what was.
I'll be amazed.
We're in 5th, and you weren't happy with 5th, which is in a way you kind of want to hear it, but yes.
I understand it, and I do think that's an Americanism that you want to win. We want to win. We want to win. But then I think Town fans are quite a smart bunch of fans, and we understand that we're not quite there just yet. So there's this big kind of disconnect sometimes, I think, from the messages we're getting out from especially Duff, because he's talking about it being an issue in that there's things that need to change, big things that need to change. But then we want to go top 2. It's kind of they don't all match. And I just think at the moment, we're missing that Dean Hall factor where everybody was all together, everything together. Oh, look at that's maybe the way that came from. But it's not quite there just yet. And it's going to take a bit of time. But I feel that's a bit of the reason why fans aren't necessarily as up for games as we used to be for certain bigger fixtures.
Let's be honest, we lost 7, 8, 9 on bounce in League One. That's going to take stuffing out of everybody after the last few years. So, it's to see us lose convincing. It wasn't even like Northampton came and it were a wonder goal and we played really well. And if you can accept that, can't you? If we battered them and lost 1-0 to a great goal, it's one of them, innit? You walk out saying fair enough. But they murdered us. They played us off park, as did Blackpool, as did a few other teams in that spell. I think Killer's right. I think the fans are. I think we've been really accommodating, to be honest. I do think the fans have been fairly gentle. But when we're told that we've had an unbelievable transfer window, we've got all those targets, that doesn't help. It really doesn't help because they are sowing the seed that we're telling you that we've got a top 2 squad. And I'm all, don't get me wrong, I'm all for us saying we're going for promotion because I'm sick of us saying we're a small club and we're happy to be here. So I'm all for us twisting that narrative around and saying we are here to win this league. We're here to go and, try and get promotion straight back. But we've all seen this before, and don't tell us we've had a mega window when majority of fans can see that we're still missing 1 or 2 vital pieces within that would have made, and they would have made a difference. I know we had the 2 strikers sat in Canal side. We didn't manage to get either of them. Is that down to us or down to money elsewhere? Situations. But we throw everything at that, and then all of a sudden we're getting told that Ladapo have been chasing him for 2 years. If that were the case, we'd have signed him in summer, wouldn't we? So that would have happened. He was out of contract anyway. So it's when you hear stuff like that, that's the stuff that pisses fans off. The losing don't piss fans off. It's football. We're not turning up expecting to win. But that's the stuff that pisses football fans off. And we've had enough of that over the last 7, 8, 9 years. And I think Nagel's done a lot of good. I genuinely do. I think he's done a lot of good for the club. I think the stuff behind the scenes, as my joke is, the concourses are really nice. I think the H-Town thing, I hate the name of it, but I think it's a good thing to have. The supporter services team are unbelievable, the jobs that they do. But ultimately, it's about winning football matches, and we don't do enough of that. So until that changes, the whole mood around the club will probably be about where it is until the fans start seeing that, swinging that, and winning football. It's not the style; it's about winning and getting 3 points.
One here from Barry Bazbaza. Excluding Birmingham players, which one player from another League One team we've played so far would you want Town to sign?
Oh God!
Hey, Paul Mullin would do all right for us, wouldn't he? He'd do all right up top for us.
Imagine if he once used to be on books at Huddersfield Town.
What about that dude with throwing at Tamworth?
Tommy Tonks. Let's get Tommy Tonks in, but we need Creamy as well. Creamy. We need a pair of them just to chuck on last 10 minutes. Town fans love a long throw. Honestly, when Nathan Clark used to rev it up, I don't think we ever scored from it. But honestly, when Nathan Clark used to walk over, get ball, you were like, oh yeah, here we go, boys. We're coming now.
One of the biggest throws. He's supposed to have a rocket throw, isn't it?
Really? Well,
the problem with that is he's only one of you need in box, isn't he? Can't chuck it to himself. I don't know. I'll be honest, it's probably going to sound really disrespectful, this, but I haven't watched any teams yet and thought he's a bit good. Maybe the lad who, I think he scored second goal for Northampton, Mick something or other. He looked half decent. Can't remember his name. But he looked all right. Well, I haven't seen anybody who thought.
No, well, we've had everyone we've played like Poku at Peterborough's top goal scoring division. He played against us, and did he come on? I think towards the end of the game, he wasn't great. Then Keeler Dunn's come up from Mansfield onto Barnsley, and he were awful against us, absolutely terrible. So
I'll tell you why I don't know about like to sign, but Matt will kill me for saying this, but Malik Wilkes tore us apart when he came on for Rotherham, but we know what he's like. He's up and down. He's not a nice guy.
But that's League One for you, isn't it? That is League One for you. You get individuals that don't have the consistency, and that's why they're in League One. They've got moments where they'll turn it up. But honestly, I won't pick anyone over Ben Wiles. I'll stick with Ben Wiles. If we just sign him twice and have two of them in the team, and have two of them, when
you look at units, and we're saying we haven't got anybody with presence up front, that's where you look at the likes of Clark Harris at Rotherham, who's been good at this level for umpteen years because he's a pain in the arse. He's a unit. He don't get knocked about. He scores goals. You know, he's the kind of player who maybe a couple of years ago you'd have really wanted in his side, especially at this level.
Richard Coney. There's Richard Coney at Wickham who plays as a striker. He's not far, just over 6 foot, I think. He's good. He's handy. We haven't seen him yet, obviously, against us, but he's kind of the kind of striker you want in leading our line. He'd be an option, but at the moment, no one's really stood out against us. Even Birmingham against us. I thought. Well, do you know what? That's the most depressed I've been this season, the Birmingham game. I thought we turned up there trying not to concede loads of goals, and we played like we were a non-league team going up against a Premier League giant. And we just kind of...
It was painful, wasn't
it? Yeah. League 2 legend.
It did feel like that.
You've seen Port Vale this season? More. How do you like it? My. We all got it wrong about him. I've got a shout out. Bradshaw Town are playing on Saturday against Concert at home at the Effin and Utility Stadium. £10 for adults, £7 concessions, £2 under 16s, under 12s are free. I know there's loads of other non-league games this weekend, but that would be a good place to go.
So, for a free ticket to say
that. We're next in action against, I was going to say Walsall for some reason, but Charlton, Nathan Jones, that'll be fun. Again, sat behind him, he'll get some stick. But again, they're 13th, and I know they're beating Birmingham, but it's... that's going to be a tough old game. That you're not going to get anything free from him, will he? He'll be wanting to put one over us. That guy. I'm going to say something, but yeah, just it's been a funny season, guys. I think we'll kind of round it up now, but it's just been a strange season because I think obviously when you get relegated, and we've had some brutal seasons, it's kind of you're just trying to work it out. He's staying if we're good enough, but it's just let's try and end on a positive as well. There's players to come back. Hopefully, Bolker can get fit. Odd can get fit. Healy, please, has turned the corner with his injuries. Start finding goals. The away followings have been fantastic. Honestly, the numbers we've taken, I think it just shows, doesn't it, that Town fans, it doesn't. Someone told me, it doesn't matter what division I'd rather go watch, with a manager that they can get behind. So I think everyone's behind us. I haven't heard many dissenters, if I'm being honest. Odd time. So I think Kevin Nagle. I think people like Kevin Nagle. Cartwright, maybe not, but and Edwards, Invisible Man, I'd hardly see him ever on anything and that as well. But H-Town, fantastic, looks pretty amazing. Looking forward to going to sample that for everyone else as well. There's so much good stuff going, but it's big, isn't it? Before Christmas, we've got midweek. I think we've got Wigan at home in early December. We've the Leyton Orient games the midweek as well. So I think by the time we get to Christmas, I think by New Year, that Wigan game, when we're playing away, don't we? Play them on away quick. We're going to know where we're heading, I think. And that's
we need to put markers down, Kosi. We need to put some markers down. And if they really fancy themselves this season, they've got to go to Mansfield in a couple of weeks and win. Go there and do them and show that, we're about something this season.
Yeah, in the game after Neil had where you think, aye, that Peterborough won, but they're nothing this year. That if we won at Mansfield, you might think, oh, hey up. But then probably the week after. But that's the thing. It's not been a marker game, has there yet? But
that's a positive for me, you see. So you watch Town at the moment, and it feels like we're not quite there yet. We're still 8th in the league. We're not that far off. We're still in contention, which is a positive in that it feels like it doesn't feel like we're about to click. It doesn't. It feels like we're a couple of stages before that. But if we do, we ain't that far behind. I think top 2's a dream. I do. I think it's an absolute dream. But getting to contention for a good end of the season and do well in the playoffs is realistic. And even though we've gone through that awful run of defeats consecutively, We're now 5 unbeaten in league, aren't we? Are we more than 5? Or is it 5 unbeaten? Whatever it is. It's trying to go on sofa score here to see. But
5 unbeaten, we are, mate.
Yeah, and we're not that bad, but we're not happy because it's not quite right. But I tell you what, if Duff gets it, if he gets it right, we could do really well really quickly, and that's a positive considering how bad some of these low points at the beginning of the season's been, including, like you say, Northampton and Blackpool back to back, which was pretty rank.
I'm going to end with a song, guys, because Bristol Street Motors obviously were playing in that, and it's only 3 games in the final. So the song is "Tell Me, Mommy, Ma, to put the champagne on ice. We're going to Wembley twice." You know it, everyone. Tune in. You know it. Get your hotels booked already.
What's a whopper?
John Moss this time. He was going to absolutely derail us, the absolute weapon. So we're going to be there. But yeah, let's end on high in the yeah. Get yourself to H-Town, Killer. You're going to be at Mix out. You're DJing before the game, I've heard, and. Yeah, H-Town, baby. Yeah. Neil, great to see you back, mate. Come back more often, man. Killer, we love you, man. We love you, top. DK and I got a TK Max to get loads of that gear, mate. It's all good. So, yeah, guys, we will be back previewing our Charlton game next week. Nathan Jones is back. I'd crack a joke about Bananarama, but no one remembers them because we're all old bastards. So we're off. See you later.